Far beyond the edges of human-mapped space, the Thalori Empire thrived in quiet splendor. Their cities floated among clouds of colored gases on massive planets, and their minds were sharp, curious, and ambitious. The Thalori were explorers at heart, always reaching beyond the stars to learn, grow, and expand their knowledge. Technology for them was a tool, never a weapon, and peace was their highest law. On the small planet of Virelia, the Thalori Council had gathered in the luminous chambers of the High Dome. Beams of light reflected from crystalline walls, giving the room a soft, golden glow. At the center of the chamber stood Chiron, a young scientist with a mind that raced faster than most. Today, he prepared to activate a device that had consumed his life for the past decade, the quantum beacon. The beacon was designed to reach far across the galaxies, to summon allies and mentors capable of guiding the Thalori through challenges they could not yet overcome. It was intended to bring peacekeepers, teachers, and innovators, beings who could help the Thalori navigate dangerous worlds, harsh environments, and the mysteries of the cosmos. Once we activate it, Chiron explained to the Council, it will send a signal into deep space, beyond the boundaries of our charts. The request is for guidance, knowledge, and support. It is entirely safe. The Council nodded, a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation filling the room. Nothing about the device seemed dangerous, at least, not to them. What the Thalori did not know, however, was that in tuning the beacon, Chiron had accidentally aligned it to a frequency rarely used in the galaxy. This frequency had been designated for one type of world, a world that the galaxy quietly called a death world. Unseen and far away, the signal raced through space. Stars blurred as it passed cosmic distances, crossing systems that had never before seen a message like this. Somewhere along its path, sensors picked it up. A world known for storms, extreme heat, poisonous gases, and deadly predators, a planet called Earth, received the signal. And on Earth, humans noticed it. Captain Arya Holt was on the bridge of the Unity's Edge, the flagship of the Earth Expeditionary Fleet. She had spent years preparing for deep space missions, training her crew to survive the unknown. Her ship floated among the stars like a silver bird, sleek and ready for action. When her instruments detected the beacon, the readings were clear. Someone, somewhere, was sending a distress call. "Captain," Lieutenant Reyes said, pointing at the glowing screen. "It's a quantum signal. Extremely powerful. And it's asking for help." Holt's eyes narrowed. "Any idea where it's coming from?" "Sector Theta 13. Far beyond our mapped systems. Preliminary scans show an advanced civilization, but not hostile," Reyes replied. Holt leaned back in her chair. Her crew were seasoned veterans and explorers, but even they felt the weight of the unknown. She made her decision. "Prepare the fleet. We're responding. Someone is out there who needs help, and we are going to be the first to answer." Back on Virelia, the Thalori scientists waited. Chiron activated the beacon, his hands steady but his heart racing. Lights pulsed along the device, and a soft hum filled the chamber. The signal began its journey, carrying with it a message of hope, guidance, and request for mentorship. "This is it," Chiron whispered. "It's working." The chamber shook slightly as the beacon's energy stabilized. The Thalori watched in awe, believing they had finally unlocked a bridge to distant allies, wise beings who would teach them strength without the need for war. But the galaxy did not always respond as one expected. Within hours, massive ships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Thalori system. To the Thalori, the sight was terrifying. The ships were enormous, sleek, and bristling with lights and strange, metallic structures. Thousands of them glided in formation, moving with precision that only an advanced civilization could master. They are coming," one council member whispered, voice shaking. Chiron's eyes widened. "But this wasn't meant to happen. We only requested guidance, peaceful guidance." The council debated evacuation, panic rising among them. Some argued that the approaching fleet must be hostile. Others wondered if the beings they had summoned were the legendary guardians. The galaxy spoke of creatures known to survive anything, adapt to any danger, and emerge victorious against impossible odds. The ships drew closer, massive shadows moving against the stars, and then, as if in answer to some unspoken question, one of the largest vessels detached from the formation. It moved with calm precision toward Virelia, scanning the planet with instruments the Thalori could not understand. Inside the ship, humans observed, curious but cautious. Captain Holt addressed her crew. "We don't know what we're walking into. Keep scanners on. Weapons on standby. But remember, our mission is to help. Show strength, yes, but also show reason. We are explorers first." The first communication attempts began. The Thalori tried to transmit peaceful greetings. Their words were beautiful, melodic, and full of meaning, a language shaped over thousands of years of culture and art. But the humans did not understand the sounds. Holt spoke into the communicator. "We read your signal. We are responding. State your needs. We are here to help." The Thalori paused. The message was alien, unfamiliar. But the tone, there was something in it. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was respect. And in that respect, the Thalori saw the first sign of what they had unwittingly called upon. "The Deathworlders have arrived," one council member murmured. Chiron froze. "Deathworlders? They are what our maps call humans," the council member replied. "Strong, dangerous, but protective of life. Not merciless, but unstoppable when challenged." For the first time, the Thalori understood the truth. They had not summoned gentle teachers. They had not summoned scholars. They had summoned survivors of storms, masters of harsh worlds, beings who thrived where others would fall. And the galaxy watched silently, waiting to see what would happen next. The stars above Virelia were no longer just distant lights. They had become a bridge between worlds, a bridge built by mistake, by chance, and by the unpredictable resilience of humanity. As the human ships moved closer, the Thalori felt awe and fear together. They did not know what humans would do. They did not know if they were about to be destroyed or protected. But deep down, they sensed that their world, fragile and beautiful, had just encountered a force unlike anything they had imagined, a force born of challenge, danger, and survival against impossible odds. Chiron whispered to himself, watching the fleet shine like silver stars against the darkness of space. "Perhaps we asked for help, but received something far greater. Perhaps we summoned hope in its most powerful form." And with that thought, the first contact of two civilizations, one cautious, one fierce, began. The Thalori had never seen ships like these. Hundreds of silver-hulled vessels moved through space with purpose, their engines glowing like the cores of stars. The sheer size and speed of the approaching fleet sent ripples of fear across the Virelian Council. They had expected guides, perhaps distant scholars, maybe even peaceful warriors. But this was something else entirely. "They are enormous," whispered Elder Cyril, her long fingers clutching the edge of the observation platform. "Are they hostile?" Chiron shook his head, though his voice trembled. "I do not know. Their signal is different from anything I have seen, but they answer our call. That should mean they are helpful. Yes? They come because of our beacon," the council struggled to understand. In the past, the galaxy had warned them about death worlds, worlds where only the strongest survived. Worlds where creatures adapted to survive any danger. Worlds whose inhabitants were feared even by the bravest civilizations. "They are Deathworlders," Cyril said quietly, almost to herself. "The maps warned us. They are survivors." Chiron frowned. "Survivors? What does that mean?" "Humans," she said. "They endure storms, hunger, and predators we cannot imagine. They fight not for glory, not for conquest, but for survival itself. If they arrive, we must be careful." On the human side, Captain Arya Holt studied the Thalori ships with careful interest. Unlike the humans, the Thalori appeared fragile, delicate, even. Their vessels floated like glass ornaments, shimmering softly. There were no visible weapons, no signs of aggression. But Holt knew better. Appearance could be deceiving. "Hail them," Holt ordered. "Identify themselves, and tell them we come in peace. We don't know their intentions, but we will not make the first mistake." Lieutenant Reyes tapped the controls. "Communications ready, Captain. Transmitting now." The bridge waited in tense silence. The human crew knew the odds were unpredictable. Their mission was simple: respond to a distress call. But space was never simple. The Thalori received the human transmission. Its tone was formal, firm, and strangely commanding. Unlike their melodic speech, the human's voice was direct and clear, almost harsh. The Thalori struggled to interpret its meaning. Chiron adjusted the translation matrix, attempting to find the subtle meanings behind each word. "They say they will help us. They come because of the beacon. But they sound strong, almost intimidating." Cyril approached, peering at the projection of the human ship. "They are tall, strong, and fast. And yet, there is a calmness in their voice. They do not threaten. But the way they move, even here, their presence fills the room." The Thalori realized something that made them both anxious and curious. These beings were unlike any other they had contacted. They did not radiate fear, but strength. They did not seek dominion, but action. As the fleets drew closer, Chiron suggested a demonstration of goodwill. "We should show them our planet. Perhaps they will understand our intentions better." The Thalori ships formed a gentle orbit around Varelia, lights shimmering like a halo. From orbit, the planet appeared calm, and beautiful forests of violet trees, rivers that glowed faintly under the 3 moons, and cities floating in soft, golden clouds. Holt studied the images from sensors. "Beautiful," she said quietly. "Peaceful. But they are clearly unarmed. Or at least, not in the ways we expect." Her science officer, Lieutenant Margot, nodded. "Their design is unusual. Light, delicate, almost artistic. But something in their structures suggests resilience. They survived something before, or they wouldn't have built like this." Holt considered this. Humans were trained to survive danger, but they did not conquer every world by force. Instead, they adapted, evolved, and solved problems quickly. Perhaps the Thalori were similar creatures shaped by their own challenges, though not as harsh as Earth. Communication continued, but misunderstandings grew. The Thalori offered gifts: minerals that shone in starlight, seeds of plants unknown to humans, holographic maps of their stars. To the Thalori, these were gestures of peace. To humans, the gifts were puzzling. "They are thankful?" Reyes asked. "Or are they warning us?" Holt shook her head. "It doesn't matter. We show respect first. That's how humans survive on worlds like ours. Respect, caution, and readiness." Then came the first small test. One of the Thalori ships misjudged distance and drifted too close to a human scout vessel. The humans immediately raised shields, engines humming as if to repel the unexpected. The Thalori panicked, quickly retreating with gentle thrusters. "It is aggressive," one Thalori council member shouted. "No," Karen said quickly. "Not aggression. They are cautious. Humans always prepare for danger. That is normal for them. It is how they survive." Cyril nodded slowly. "Then we must learn to survive like them. But can we?" The answer became clearer when the humans demonstrated calmness. They did not fire. They did not threaten. They only observed, measured, and prepared. The Thalori realized these beings were dangerous not because they wanted to harm, but because they could survive anything. Hours passed, and both sides began tentative cooperation. Humans asked questions about the planet, its history, its people. The Thalori responded, cautiously, their words full of wonder. Slowly, fear gave way to fascination. "They are strange," Chiron whispered. They do not seem to fear us, yet they respect us. They are not like any species we have studied. They are different. They are Deathworlders, Cyril said again, her voice calm but certain. Strong. Dangerous. And yet, they may be our greatest allies. Holt watched the Thalori on her sensors, noting the subtle gestures of anxiety and hope. Humans, trained to read emotion and action, realized one truth. These aliens were intelligent, peaceful, and in need of protection. But the galaxy was not kind. Danger lurked, and sooner or later, someone would attack. Holt made a decision. We will stay. We will show them how to survive. And if anything comes, we protect them. That is what humans do. The Thalori had called for guidance. They had expected gentle mentors, perhaps scholars. Instead, they had found beings forged in storms, raised in a world of survival, and capable of defending anything with unmatched determination. And the galaxy, vast and silent, held its breath, waiting for the next move. The Thalori were still awestruck by the humans. Every movement, every decision, revealed something they had not expected. Calm, precise, fearless, these Deathworlders were unlike any being the galaxy had catalogued. For hours, the Thalori had felt both admiration and unease. But nothing could prepare them for what came next. A dark signal appeared on the edge of Virelia's sensors. At first, it was subtle, a flicker in space, a shadow moving faster than light calculations should allow. Then it grew. Massive ships, black as void and jagged as stone, tore through hyperspace toward the Thalori system. The Zern, whispered Elder Sorel, dread heavy in her voice. They have found us. Chiron's hands shook as he activated the planetary defense arrays. But he knew they were useless. The Thalori ships were built for exploration, not war. Their weapons were non-lethal, designed to disarm and disable, not destroy. They had no chance against the incoming fleet. Holt noticed the change on the Thalori sensors. What's happening? She asked, leaning forward. Her crew analyzed the readings, recognizing the signature immediately. Zern attack ships, Lieutenant Reyes said grimly. Predators of space. They destroy worlds that cannot defend themselves. And they're coming fast. Holt's eyes narrowed. Everyone, battle stations. Shields up, weapons ready. Prepare to defend not just us, but them too. The Thalori froze. They had called for help, thinking they would receive teachers, mentors, and scholars. Instead, the universe had answered with a species that had survived storms, deserts, predators, and war, and now, that species was ready to protect them. The Zern ships appeared at the edge of the system like black mountains, vast and menacing. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy, ready to tear apart anything that opposed them. The humans responded immediately. Fighters launched from the Unity's edge and the smaller vessels, weaving through the void with incredible speed. Shields flared, energy weapons hummed, and every human pilot knew what was at stake. Survival, not conquest. The Thalori watched in disbelief. These fragile-looking beings, raised on a world of storms and struggle, were the first line of defense. Their courage was unmatched. Their strategy was instinctive. Humans did not fight because they were angry. They fought because they would not allow the innocent to suffer. Chiron whispered. They are more than we imagined. They are unstoppable. Elder Cyril shook her head. They are Deathworlders. The first wave of Zern attack ships fired, energy blasts tearing through empty space. Human fighters dodged with impossible precision. One ship, small but agile, darted between a barrage of lasers and struck a Zern vessel directly at its engine. The enemy faltered, spinning out of control, its hull cracking under the human assault. Impressive, Holt said quietly, watching her crew move with seamless coordination. Every human here trained to survive the worst. And they are proving it now. Back on Virelia, the Thalori could not believe their eyes. How can they move like that? Karen exclaimed. They are ordinary creatures. But ordinary could not do this. They are not ordinary, Cyril corrected. They are survivors. That is what makes them extraordinary. The Zern pressed harder, sensing weakness. But humans adapted faster than expected. They set up defensive perimeters around Virelia, their ships moving in patterns no machine could predict. Every maneuver was calculated for maximum protection. Every attack designed to minimize collateral damage. Humans had learned to survive harsh worlds, and now that knowledge extended to the protection of an entire alien civilization. Holt's voice cut through the comms, firm and commanding. Focus on their engines first. Disable, do not destroy. Keep civilians safe. Everyone. Move like the storm moves, unpredictable, unstoppable. Human fighters and ships moved like a single organism, their instinctive coordination overwhelming the Zern. The Thalori watched, jaws open, hearts pounding. They had imagined protectors who might teach them wisdom. Instead, they saw warriors who embodied survival itself. They do not fear them, Karen said. Not even a little. No, Cyril said. They are Deathworlders. Fear is for those who cannot endure. They endure. As the battle intensified, a small Thalori vessel drifted dangerously close to the Zern fleet. Panic surged among the council. But before the enemy could strike, a human fighter swooped in, engines blazing, shields flashing, and pushed the ship back into safety. It was done not with destruction, but with precision. A lesson in control and courage. Holt saw the gratitude on the Thalori sensors and smiled faintly. They will survive, if we protect them. That is what humans do. We fight to protect, not to conquer. The Zern realized too late that they had underestimated their opponents. Humans fought differently from other civilizations. They adapted quickly, acted decisively, and coordinated perfectly, even under extreme stress. Their survival instincts were unmatched. In a final wave, humans launched an attack directly at the Zern flagship. Fighters moved in tight formation, dodging turrets and energy blasts. The flagship shuddered as multiple hits struck its engines and shields, forcing it to retreat. The remaining Zern ships followed, pulling back with surprise and confusion. The Thalori were stunned. Their planet was safe. Their civilization was unharmed. And it was all because of these Deathworlders, beings they had once underestimated, called to their aid by mistake, and yet capable of facing annihilation without hesitation. Chiron turned to Cyril, eyes wide. We asked for guidance. We received warriors. Not just warriors, survivors, protectors, humans. They are more than we imagined, Cyril said, her voice calm now, filled with awe. They are the embodiment of life itself. To call them is to summon hope. Holt, aboard the Unity's Edge, monitored the retreating Zern. They won't be back, she said, but we need to remain vigilant. The galaxy doesn't forgive mistakes. And someday, we might face something even stronger. Yet for now, the Thalori could breathe. They were safe. Their civilization had not only survived a threat that would have destroyed them, but they had witnessed a lesson the galaxy rarely teaches. Strength tempered by courage, survival guided by compassion, and life protected by those who understand hardship. And so, for the first time, the Thalori saw the truth of the humans they had summoned. These Deathworlders were not just survivors of storms or predators. They were a force of nature in their own right, capable of facing impossible odds and emerging victorious, not for glory, but for life itself. The galaxy was vast and filled with danger, but for the Thalori, hope had arrived in the form of beings born from challenge, sharpened by hardship, and tempered by the fires of survival. The aftermath of the first Zern attack left the Thalori shaken but alive. Virelia glowed softly under its 3 moons, and the humans had proven themselves protectors beyond any measure. Yet the galaxy was not yet done testing them. Sensors picked up movement at the edge of the Thalori system. More Zern ships, larger and faster than before. Captain Arya Holt did not flinch. Everyone, battle stations. This is bigger than the last wave. We hold the line, no matter what. Her crew moved like a well-oiled machine, weapons calibrated, engines humming, shields shimmering. Every human knew what survival demanded: speed, precision, and courage. The Thalori watched from their observation platforms. Fear lingered, but awe now overshadowed it. "They face it again," Karen whispered. "And they are calm," Cyril nodded. "Humans do not panic. They do not hesitate. That is why they survive." The first wave of Zern ships entered the system, black silhouettes cutting through starlight. Their weapons flared, energy arcs arcing toward Virelia like deadly lightning. Humans responded instantly. Fighters leapt forward in tight formations, weaving through lasers and debris with impossible agility. Energy shields flared as weapons fired back, precise and controlled. Holt's voice rang through every channel. "Focus on their weapons first. Disable. Don't destroy. Keep civilians safe. We fight to protect, not to dominate." The Thalori gasped as human fighters moved like one organism, instinct guiding every decision. Each ship protected another. Every attack anticipated the enemy's next move. There was no hesitation. Every human pilot, every engineer, every soldier acted with a single purpose: to survive and protect. "This is beyond anything we imagined," Karen said, eyes wide. "They are perfectly synchronized." They are Deathworlders," Cyril said. "This is how they fight. Not out of anger, but because they must endure." The Zern fleet advanced with overwhelming size, attempting to overwhelm human defenses through sheer numbers. But humans adapted faster than their attackers could anticipate. Small, fast attack ships struck weak points in the enemy formation, while larger vessels used shields to protect the Thalori ships in orbit. One Zern cruiser fired a massive energy beam directly at a Thalori city. Humans reacted immediately. Fighters darted in front, deflecting the beam with carefully timed shields. The city remained unharmed. The Thalori stared, mouths open. "They can protect us even from impossible attacks," Karen whispered. Holt's eyes were steady as she coordinated every move. "Remember, we fight smart. Hit their engines. Disable their weapons, but don't waste energy destroying. Precision wins wars." In space, the battle became a dance of light and shadow. Human ships moved with unmatched skill, their shields flickering against energy blasts, weapons striking with deadly accuracy. Zern ships began to falter, their engines crippled, their formations broken. Every retreat the enemy made was predicted and countered. The Thalori began to understand the full truth. Humans were not invincible, but they were unstoppable in their determination. Each human acted with purpose, each decision guided by survival instincts, honed over generations on a dangerous world. The very skills that had kept them alive on Earth now protected an entire alien civilization. Chiron turned to Cyril. "They are not like us. They are stronger, faster, smarter, and yet humble. They fight not for themselves, but for others." Cyril nodded. "That is the essence of Deathworlders. Survival, yes, but also compassion. That is what makes them extraordinary." The Zern flagship, massive and jagged, advanced at the center of the attack. Humans recognized the danger immediately. Fighters swarmed around it, shields flaring to absorb fire, while larger ships targeted the flagship's engines and weapon systems. Holt's voice cut through the chaos. "We move as one. Every hit counts. Every shield counts. Protect each other. And protect them." The Thalori watched, amazed. Humans darted around the flagship like lightning, striking with pinpoint accuracy, dodging attacks that would have destroyed lesser ships. One human fighter moved directly into the path of a massive laser, perfectly timing a shield to deflect the energy. The maneuver saved multiple Thalori vessels and stunned everyone watching. They risk themselves to protect us," Karen said, disbelief in his voice. They are Unlike any being in the galaxy, they are Deathworlders, Cyril repeated. They survive storms, predators, and even death itself. That is why they can do this. The flagship faltered, engines sparking, weapons offline. The Zern began retreating, their fleet disorganized and confused. Humans pursued only as far as necessary, disabling engines and weapons but never striking to kill unless forced. Their purpose was protection, not destruction. Holt took a deep breath, watching the enemy retreat. They won't be back for a while. But the lesson is clear. We fight to protect, and we fight smart. The Thalori were silent, absorbing what they had witnessed. Their world had been on the brink, their civilization vulnerable, and yet humans had turned the impossible into survival. Chiron finally spoke. We thought we summoned teachers. We thought we would receive guidance. But we received warriors, guardians, humans. Cyril looked at the young scientist, her eyes filled with awe. They are more than teachers, more than warriors. They are hope made real. To call them is to summon life itself. As the battle ended and silence returned to Virelia's orbit, the Thalori realized how fragile peace could be. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, and they had been unprepared. Yet now, with humans by their side, they understood something profound. Survival was not just about strength, but about courage, unity, and compassion. Holt's crew prepared for any further threats, engines humming, shields glowing, but there was a quiet satisfaction on the bridge. They had survived, protected, and shown the Thalori what it meant to be Deathworlders, beings who could endure anything and still act with honor. The Thalori approached the humans with gratitude. You saved us, Elder Cyril said. Not because you had to, but because you could. You are beyond what we imagined. Holt smiled faintly. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what humans do. That is what Deathworlders do. The galaxy, vast and silent, now knew of the humans' presence. But more importantly, the Thalori learned a truth that would echo across their civilization. Survival is not just about strength. It is about courage, compassion, and the willingness to stand for others when danger arrives. And for the humans, the lesson was simple but powerful. Even in a distant system, among strangers, they would fight, survive, and protect. That is what it meant to be a Deathworlder. The stars above Virelia no longer shone just as distant lights. They reflected the courage, strength, and heart of a species that had arrived to protect, survive, and inspire hope in a galaxy full of darkness. The battle was over. The Zern ships had retreated into the void, their massive fleet broken and scattered. Virelia's cities floated safely among the clouds, the rivers glowed softly under the three moons, and the Thalori people slowly began to emerge from their shelters. The planet had been spared, not by chance, but by the courage and skill of humans beings, shaped by a world of storms, predators, and survival against impossible odds. Captain Aria Holt stood on the bridge of the Unity's edge, looking at the serene planet below. Her crew moved quietly, checking systems, repairing minor damage, and ensuring shields remained stable. For humans, survival was a constant process, a mixture of readiness, action, and calm under pressure. Today, that process had saved a civilization. Lieutenant Reyes approached her, still catching his breath. Captain, sensors show the Zern retreating. No sign of immediate threat. Holt nodded. Good, but remain alert. The galaxy is full of dangers. This was only the first test. On Virelia, the Thalori Council gathered in the High Dome, their usual fear replaced with awe and gratitude. Chiron spoke first, addressing both the Council and the humans present. We called for guidance. We expected scholars, mentors, perhaps wisdom. What we received instead is something greater. You are not only protectors, but teachers in ways we did not understand. You have shown us strength, courage, and the true meaning of survival. Elder Cyril stepped forward. Today, we witnessed what no censor or report could have prepared us for. Humans Deathworlders are not only strong, but compassionate. They fight to protect life, not for conquest. They are the guardians we needed without knowing it. The humans remained humble. Holt spoke softly, her voice carrying across the chamber. We came because we detected a call for help. That is all. Survival is not about power. It is about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. That is what humans do. That is what Deathworlders do. The Thalori listened, and slowly, they began to understand. They had believed themselves fragile in the face of galactic threats. Now, they saw that they were not alone. They had allies who could endure, adapt, and protect. Over the next few days, humans and Thalori worked together. The Thalori shared their knowledge of star charts, culture, and technology. Humans shared lessons learned from Earth, their strategies for survival, and the tools that had allowed them to thrive on a planet far harsher than Virelia. Holt walked among the Thalori, observing their curiosity and wonder. Children, delicate and shimmering with faint bioluminescence, peeked at human armor and tools. Scientists examined human ships, fascinated by the engineering that allowed a fragile-looking vessel to survive in the void and protect others. You have much to teach, Kieran said. Not only in technology, but in spirit. You face danger, yet you act with care. That is something our civilization has never fully understood. Holt smiled. Surviving is not enough. Thriving is not enough. We protect life. That is our lesson. And perhaps, together, we can learn from each other. News of the battle spread across the Thalori systems. Other civilizations that had once observed Virelia from afar began to take notice. Ships from distant worlds cautiously approached, curious about the species that had defeated the Zern, a species small in number but vast in skill, courage, and unity. The Thalori invited these new visitors to observe the humans, to understand why they called them Deathworlders. Slowly, what had begun as fear turned into respect. The humans did not seek domination. They did not boast of victory. They simply survived, protected others, and inspired hope across worlds. Chiron reflected on the events with quiet amazement. We summoned Deathworlders by accident, he said to Cyril. And yet this mistake may have changed everything. We learned that strength is not just in weapons or shields. It is in courage, compassion, and the willingness to act when others cannot. Cyril nodded. Perhaps the galaxy needs more than just power. It needs beings who can survive and protect. That is the lesson you have given us, Arya Holt, and humanity. Holt's crew prepared to leave Virelia, their mission complete. Yet there was a sense of connection now, a bond between humans and the Thalori that went beyond diplomacy. It was mutual respect, built on shared struggle and the understanding of what it meant to survive against the odds. Before departure, Holt addressed the Thalori leaders once more. We will leave for now. But remember, the galaxy is wide and dangerous. Call for help if you need it. We will come. And you must also remember this. Life is worth protecting. Survival is only the beginning. Courage, unity, and compassion make it meaningful. Chiron bowed. We will remember. And perhaps, we will strive to live as Deathworlders do. Resilient, brave, and mindful of others. As the human fleet departed, Virelia glowed like a jewel among the stars. The Thalori watched silently, their hearts filled with awe. They had been weak, unprepared, and afraid. Now, they were inspired. They understood that survival was not just about enduring danger, but about standing together, acting wisely, and protecting life wherever it could be found. In the silence of space, Holt reflected on the journey. Humans had arrived by accident, responding to a signal meant for guidance. And yet, that accident had created something extraordinary. A civilization had been saved, alliances formed, and hope renewed in a galaxy that could often feel cold and indifferent. They will be ready, she said quietly to herself. They will survive, and so will we. Far across the stars, other civilizations took note of the humans, curious and cautious, but slowly learning the lesson that the Thalori had embraced. To call Deathworlders was to summon not destruction, but hope. It was to call those who could endure storms, protect the weak, and inspire courage in even the most fearful hearts. The universe, vast and unending, seemed a little brighter that day. For among the stars, there were beings who could survive anything, fight for others, and shine as a beacon of hope. The accidental call had become a story of courage, unity, and the enduring power of humanity. And the Thalori knew one simple truth. Life was stronger when it was protected, when it was cherished, and when those who survived did so not for themselves alone, but for the sake of all. The humans had arrived as Deathworlders, forged by storms, hardened by survival, and tempered by compassion. They left as legends, leaving behind a world inspired, safe, and forever changed. And in the quiet of space, where stars burned and galaxies stretched endlessly, the message was clear. Humanity was a force the universe could not ignore, a force born of hardship, courage, and hope.